Alright guys, we gotta get this one right. On 3, we're gonna say welcome back to Extraordinary Thoughts Flowing in Mind. 1, 2, 3.
Welcome back to Extraordinary Mind.
And we back.
That'll work right there.
Yeah.
And we back. And we
Yeah.
back. And we back. And we back. And we
Y'all did y'all best. And that's all that matters.
Now, before we get started with this episode, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like this episode, share this podcast, and if you can, do me a favor, head on down to the review section and leave an honest review, because this podcast was dedicated to helping us become a better version of ourselves. And I don't know what that version is, but I know that just like we need a little bit more money, just like we need a little bit more sleep, just like we need a little bit more of anything in life, we deserve to be a little better than what we are right now. What's going on, everybody? It's that ordinary podcaster with the extraordinary thoughts that tells you to stop being great and be extraordinary. I'm your host, Demetrius Thickpen, also known as Meech Speaks, and welcome back to another episode of Extraordinary Thoughts for the Ordinary Mind. Oh, it's moments like this where I realize that I should have a pre-recorded intro, you know what I mean? Because if you haven't noticed it, I got my man voice back. I got my man voice back. Yeah, it came from screaming. Definitely came from screaming. And, I'm definitely going to be like this for the next couple of days. So it's only fitting that I walk into Monday with my man voice. But, as I approach this episode, I've always treated the podcast as a personal journal rather than a series of informative episodes. You know what I mean? I've always treated it as a means of the things that I was dealing with in my life. I would always speak it out loud, and just allow myself to unravel the things, and also just to share my problems with everyone, and hopefully, help those who are going through or maybe about to go through the same things that I've went through or something of that nature. But honestly, I kind of feel like I'm stuck at a crossroads right now. I feel like I'm currently stuck at a crossroads. Either A, I continue down the path that I've already created for myself, or B, I get off this exit and I start to carve anew. These are my current decisions. And as time, starts to wind down on my current situation, I have no choice but to figure it out soon, and I promise you I'll share that news later on down the line. But it's been on my mind. It really has. And my question for today, my question for you, for myself, is, do we still dream? You know what I mean? Like, do we still dream? Not in the sense of when we go to sleep at night and our brain creates these images or whatever the fuck, or how dreams work as we sit there for the next 8 hours with our eyes closed. I'm really not talking about that. I'm talking about, do we still dream like we did when we were kids? When they asked us what we wanted to be when we grew up. I'm pretty sure some of us said doctors. I'm pretty sure some of us said firefighters. I'm pretty sure that some of us said whatever imagination that our minds could conceive to say that was going to be our career. Do we still dream like that? I doubt it. I doubt it, because I know for a fact as we got older, those dreams in reality, they started to, get into an equation with each other, and something just didn't add up. A while back, I talked about how, we as parents have a responsibility to our children. And that biggest responsibility was to foster their dreams, foster their aspirations, even if it would seem crazy to us. I'm pretty sure, I think that it was a reality for them, like it was real for them. I remember at one point I talked about how my grandmother, she had came up to me one time and asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up. I told her I wanted to open up a restaurant. She said, "Baby, they don't make a lot of money." She came back a week later, asked me the exact same question, said, "Baby, what do you want to be when you grow up?" I told her I wanted to be a comedian. I'm charismatic. I like making people laugh. I know I'm funny. She said, baby, do you want to be a joke for the rest of your life? I would later on talk about how in that moment right there, she had killed a dream. You know what I mean? Like the dream, it just ceased to be. But the problem with that is that as I got older, I just didn't dream anymore. People would ask me what I wanted to be, and I would just give up some type of career just so I wouldn't go down this rabbit hole of I really just didn't know. I told people I wanted to be a firefighter. I told people I wanted to be a nurse. I told people X, Y, and Z things, but to be honest with you, I had no idea. And by the time that I got to 12th grade, and as my peers were talking about getting ready to go to college and, pursuing whatever major that they had planned to start their careers or whatever the fuck they had going on in their lives at that exact moment, I had nothing. To be honest with you, I didn't even apply to college. To be honest with you, I really wouldn't even have taken the SATs or the ACTs. Actually, I really didn't take the ACTs now that we really think about it. Because when I showed up to the college and they didn't call my name, I remember that a couple of other students' names didn't get called, but I really didn't make a fuss about it because, to be honest with you, college just wasn't in the horizon for me. I'm going to just be 100% honest with you. And I spent that summer really trying to find myself. And as I roamed the streets of Detroit, going back and forth to work or wherever the hell my mind would take me, I still couldn't figure out what I wanted to be. And I know I may seem like I'm going down a tangent, but to be honest with you, if I didn't end up in the military, I'm pretty sure I just would have ended up dead. And the military wasn't even a dream of mine. It wasn't. I'm going to just be 100% honest with you. The military was never a dream of mine. Like, I didn't come from a generations of military members. I didn't go to ROTC while I was in high school. The military just so happened to find me. And it was just, they promised me travel. They promised me tattoos. They promised me women. And I just couldn't sign. I couldn't sign the dotted line fast enough at 18. I just needed to get the fuck out of there. And as I was going through the military, I had no dreams. I had no passions, no real aspirations. I knew that if I could make it to 20, I would be able to retire. I knew that if I did what I was told, I would be successful. I had goals. I did what everyone else did. I got promoted. I performed higher than most people. But that was just a natural person of who I was. I just didn't like to be a shitbag. So I always tried to do good. But the reality is that I did not have dreams. I didn't have aspirations. I would spend the next, 10 years, no passions, no aspirations, just going through life, succeeding in things, but just still going through life, not really fulfilled. I bring this up and I say this in 100% transparency that for the longest, I felt like as if I was just a zombie, walking dead, just doing things that what humans would do. And it took that day when I finally realized that I was a speaker to finally ignite a flame within me. And I bring that up right there because I feel like I've talked about it and I've talked about it and I talked about it so much that I'm pretty sure a stranger knows my life story. But I bring that up because the first time a flame was ignited within me, a flame was, for the first time I felt alive. And I couldn't tell you the last time I really felt like that. And when it happened, I had no choice but to just go in that direction. I had no choice but to continue to pursue it. And the reason why I had to pursue it, because it was the only thing that made me feel whole. It was the only thing that made me feel warm. It was the only thing that made me truly feel alive. Launch a podcast, become an author. All of these things that just brought a different type of joy to me. I bring that up once again because I really have questions today. Do we still dream? Or are you just like me? You know, dreams was killed at such an adolescent age that you just tended to just go through life and just hope that life would give you a good hand. Do we still dream? Or maybe, you know, before I even begin, I really want to just say this right now. I promise you I'm not attacking you. I'm just asking a couple of questions. I'm asking you a couple of questions because I'm trying to provide a little clarity for myself. I'm really asking a couple of questions right now because I don't know who needs to hear this, but to be honest with you, maybe it's the podcaster that keeps saying that he's just trying to make everybody become a better version of themselves, even though that he doesn't know what that means. Maybe I'm talking to the person that's trying to figure out what they want to do in their life. Maybe I'm just talking to the person right now who's driving to a job that they don't want for money that they need. And the whole time that they drive and they passion, they dreams, they aspirations, they live in the backseat of the car. They go to their job, they punch the clock, they make somebody else richer. And then they go home, they sit there and they look their kids in the eyes. Say shit like, why don't you follow your dreams? And the whole time that they did. Maybe I'm talking to the person right now that kind of just feels unfulfilled in life. You know what I mean? That them dreams and aspirations that they had as a child died at a long time ago. Or maybe that they had them when they got to high school. Maybe they held on to them when they got to college. But for some reason, you know, life tended to hit them. They realized that the major that they had majored in don't make no money. So they don't want to drop out because their parents will look at them funny. Oh, my God. Maybe I'm talking to the person who got pregnant. And because now they got kids in the equation, the thing that they wanted to do, it's a solo player job, but right now they come equipped with two other people, one other person, and they just got to make ends meet. Maybe I'm talking to the person that's got a felony on their record and they can't find a job in it. Honestly, I sit back and I think to myself and I wonder, why do we stop dreaming? Why do we quit chasing our aspirations? Why do we stop? I want to be the first one to say this, that if your dreams and aspirations as a child have changed, that's okay. Here I am 30 and I don't think I want to own my own restaurant. Here I am now, and although I am funny and I'm pretty sure I could break into comedy, I don't think I really want to be a comedian. Don't want to be a firefighter. And to be honest with you, I think I'm getting to the point where I don't think I want to be in the military anymore. And I don't say that in the sense that I'm just tired of being in the military. I say that in the sense that just as life happens, we tend to happen in life. And as we continue to grow, you know, as we continue to mold, as we continue to experience different things, we also start to dream. Let me rephrase that. We also start to believe that we're bigger than what we are right now. Like the current situation that we're in right now, we're a little bit bigger than that. That as we've gotten older, as we started to realize that our hobbies, we've picked up new hobbies, we picked up new passions, we picked up new things that we deep down we want to pursue. But we don't. It took me, I was 28 when that happened, so I would say, took me 28 years to finally realize my passion. And even when I realized my passion, it was still things I hadn't even unlocked yet. So I really want to just tell you right now, if you got a goal right now and it just came to birth, don't be ashamed at the fact that you probably 25, you probably 28, you probably 30, you probably X, Y, and Z age. And you feel like you too old to pursue it. Be glad that you finally awakened it. A lot of times we don't chase our dreams, we don't chase our aspirations because we feel like we will be judged by the ones that are closest to us. You know, our family, our friends, co-workers. I'm going to tell you right now before we even get started, look, don't quit your job. Do not quit your job. I say don't quit your job because a lot of times like we awaken it. And that's the first thing that we want to do. I tell you right now, as soon as the passion started burning, that was the first thing I wanted to do. I wanted to quit. And the reason why I say don't quit your job just yet, because See, our dreams, our aspirations, and our passions, even if they are just happening right now, see, I need you to understand this. They just like the children that we nurture. As you look at a newborn, you realize that they can't fend for themselves just yet. They still got to be fed. They got to be changed. They got to be taken care of. And the thing is that your dreams, your passions, and your aspirations, that's just like that. They got to be fed. They got to be nurtured. They got to be taken care of. And a lot of times, see, our dreams and our aspirations, they constantly keep getting killed because we think that when we give birth to them, that they're going to be mature just like we are, but we forget that we still got to grow them. I've come to realize that a lot of times people realize that they have passions, they have dreams, even if it's at the age of 10 or even if it's at the age of 30. But the thing is that we don't trust it. We don't believe in ourselves in the same way that we will believe in somebody else. Do you know how hard it was for me to realize that I could actually do this speaking thing? Do you know how hard it was when I realized that I could actually do this podcasting thing? You know how hard it was when I realized that I could actually be an author? I don't brag or boast. I'm just trying to tell you that it really took me a minute before I jumped off the ledge and actually pulled the trigger on this. And I say that because deep down, I didn't think that I would make it. I'm trying to be 100% transparent on this episode because somebody right now does have the exact same aspirations, dreams. They got that exact same type of flame burning inside of them. But they ain't going to pull the trigger on it because they don't think that they going to make it. So I'm going to just go ahead and just say this real quick. For us parents, we know exactly what I'm about to say. You remember when your kid first learned how to walk? How many times did they fall? And each time that they fell, they picked themselves right back up, yeah? They didn't care that they fell. They cared about the distance that they had covered. With each step, they gained a little bit more distance, and they didn't realize how many times they had fallen. They cared more about the idea that they have gotten further and further without no aid or assistance. And as parents, we allowed them to fall. As parents, we watch them pick themselves back up and continue to keep moving. Can I ask you a favor? Can I just ask one request? Can we give our dreams and aspirations that exact same respect? Can we have that exact same faith that we have when our kids learn how to walk with our dreams? Like even if we fail, like even if we don't make it, can we still have that exact same type of faith and trust the process and know that the process, as long as we stay consistent, as long as we continue to move forward, that this thing is going to work out? Can we give up the idea that there's this overnight success shit and understand that each night is not something that it happens overnight? It's the fact that each night we kept moving towards the goal. Can we have that faith in it? Look, I ain't trying to get deep into this episode. I just really want to just touch somebody's soul on this. I really just want to talk to the person that's driving to their job right now, knowing deep down that they got something deep inside of them that they know they want to do. And I really want to just say this, that shit gonna be hard. It's gonna be days where you can't stand the process. As a matter of fact, you're probably gonna get tired of hearing trust the process. But I'm gonna ask you a series of questions real quick, and I just need you to be 100% honest with me. If you went back in time right now and you had to tell your 18-year-old self or 17-year-old self, the day before they graduate high school, everything that they will conquer in life, do you think that they would be proud of you? If you had to brag or boast about yourself to somebody else, do you think that they would be impressed? If you had to pick up a book about your life, right? Like if you had to pick up a book about your life and read it, would you want to read it? Let me rephrase this and I'm going to be 100% honest. Would your kids want you to want to grow up and be like you? I'm going to say this because I don't think nobody heard me. I said, would your kids want to grow up and be just like you? If you answered no to any of those, then it's time to go ahead and make a change.
And just like that, another extraordinary thought left this ordinary mind. I hope you enjoyed this episode half as much as I enjoy making it. Stay tuned Mondays and Fridays. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Meech Speaks. Once again, that's Meech Speaks. Meech is spelled Meech. Don't forget to share this podcast, subscribe to this podcast, follow this podcast, pass this podcast to somebody, because this podcast was dedicated to helping everyone become a better version of themselves. Even though I don't know what that type of version is, I just know that you can be better. Lastly, don't forget to grab your copy of The Extraordinary Thought from the Ordinary Mind, available on Amazon, Barnes & Nobles. I think there's an electrical copy. You know what it is. Stay hungry, stay motivated. I'm out.